Hey, my name is Val, and welcome to the Dairy Hour podcast, where the future of farming isn't just in our fields, it's in our voices. Pull up a chair, friend. Let's share the story of agriculture, one voice at a time. Are you tired of farm gear that just doesn't keep up with your daily grind? Let me introduce you to my favorite find, the waterproof bibs from 4D Ag Fashion. These bibs are built by farmers for farmers, designed to handle the mud, the mess, and everything in between, all while keeping you dry and comfy. They are lightweight, breathable, and so much fun, coming in so many different colors from cow print, camo, teal, pink, purple, navy, green, and maroon. Whether you're working in the parlor, the barn, or tackling chores in the rain, these bibs are a total game changer. You can grab your pair at 4dagfashion.com. That's the number 4, the letter D, agfashion.com. Trust me, once you wear them, you won't want to chore in anything else. Oh, and for the month of June, free shipping for Dairy Month. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the Dairy Hour podcast. I am your host, Val Lavigne, and I'm here today with Kathryn Christie. Kathryn, how are you today?
You, Val?
Good. I'm enjoying, we have been having lots and lots of rain, but it is sunny today. It's been sunny for 2 days now, and it's been wonderful. I fear it's not long-lived, but we're taking it as we can get it. So we're going for it.
There's some rain and some drier temperature or cooler temperatures. It's going to be in the 90s this week, and I am not here for that.
Yeah, we're getting that at the end of this week. Whatever you get, we always get after you.
That's so much fun. I hope some of it falls apart with the lakes.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. So Kathryn is no, you're in Michigan. Sorry. I saw you in Ohio recently. Shout out to the Women's Agri-Intelligence Conference in Ohio. And the ladies there did a fantastic job running the conference. And it was so great to meet really awesome women like Kathryn there and all the fun things. So Kathryn, why don't you give us the down low? What is it that you do?
I am Kathryn Christie. I'm most proud of being a mom of one tiny human. I am also a 5th generation farmer here in Hastings, Michigan. I'm the owner of An Earful of Agriculture, an author of the Hibernating Combine, and for a stay-at-home mom, I seem to be never home. So it seems like there's a lot of things that I do, but it also doesn't have a title for.
Oh my gosh, I 100% get the stay-at-home mom that's never home, because I'm pretty sure that's me, the homeschooling, quote unquote, stay-at-home mom that's in 8,000 directions at once. So I feel that 100% for you. And what is it that you farm?
We raise replacement dairy heifers and then Charolais beef cattle, and then we have row crops.
So what kind of row crops do you grow?
Beans and wheat.
Very cool. So I want to jump back a little bit and talk about how you ended up where you are. You said you're a 5th generation farmer?
Yep.
Which is awesome. So do you want to talk a little bit about, growing up and your role on the farm as a kid and what your favorite chores were, all those fun things?
Growing up on the farm as a kid was an adventure. I obviously am a female, and we did not have any female employees, and I have some cousins, but my next eldest cousin is 10 years younger than me, so I very much was the tiny little woman that had a lot to prove. So our Charolais cattle is like my thing that I'm most proud of. In 55, we brought the first Charolais cattle to Michigan, actually. So when I was 13, I got to start my Charolais herd, which is super fun, and they're so cute and white. But I remember growing up and fighting over who got to sit in the window seat and who had to sit on the other half of the chair that was falling off in the feed truck, and taking turns riding in the tractor. And, they didn't have buddy seats back then. So we would bash our head on the back window, and my kids riding in the tractor in a car seat, glorious air conditioning, like the best life. So it was a lot of fun, but it definitely shaped who I am, being the only female and trying to keep up with the guys and proving my worth mostly to myself, especially being a petite person. It's always been an adventure.
Yeah. So what are some of the fun things that you remember doing on the farm that were your go-to chore, or, what kind of things did you carve out, being that little petite female running around?
Favorite things, which is so funny now. So we don't have feed bunks. We just have an open floor alley. And we used to push the feed up with a shop broom, like a 36-inch wide broom. And I remember racing my brothers to see who could sweep the first alley. And now the guys are like, oh, we have to do chores, and they use a loader to push it up with a feed scraper. And I'm like, do you guys like, you didn't experience the time of the broom and like that adrenaline. And then I spent a lot of time driving tractors. So I have been the merger when we're doing hay for the longest time. It is absolutely my favorite thing to do still. But those are probably my two most core memories.
Awesome. I have driven tractors enough to take my tractor safety course in 4-H and complete it and do really well at it. And then I conveniently forgot how to drive tractors so that I don't get asked to do tractor chores. So that's how I feel. I'm definitely a cow person over a tractor person any day. I'll go ride in the buddy seat if my husband's in there, but other than that,
it's just like, it's quiet, especially like we have some beautiful fields. We have a couple of them that are a mile long. So you just drive, it's a straight flat mile, and you can do so much like productive things while you're in that tractor alone. And I am just like, leave me alone with my music. I'm going to make a business plan. We're going to be productive. And yeah, I do love the tractors.
We also in New York don't know what it's like to have a field that's a mile long. So
probably flat either.
Little tiny little pieces pieced together throughout neighborhoods. So I don't know what it's like to get in a tractor and just go for a very long straight row. I know what it's like to jig around and do the jigsaw puzzles.
They both have their place, but I wish that we were further out west where we had even bigger flat fields, but I am very thankful for the flat fields that we do have.
Yes, you should very much appreciate them. Otherwise, if you don't have appreciation, come farm with us for a little bit in the hill country and we'll call it a day.
Yes, very much so. And like we have most of our fields are a decent size, and which helps too. Like we've cleaned out the fence rows, we've cleaned out the tree lines, we've put tile in. So there's not many obstacles in the fields. Like we can just go. That's always handy. Makes life a lot easier that way. Absolutely.
So at 13, you started your own Charolais herd. And, so obviously you had a very big interest in agriculture right from, being a child. What was your first Charolais name?
Sarah. So she was given to me from my grandparents as my fair calf. And unfortunately, she got shipped out, I think 2 years ago now, but she ended up being the biggest pain in the butt in our herd. We would bring the livestock trailer in the pasture to load up the cattle, and she would get on the trailer and want to go on a ride. And then you would just have to like continuously get her out because she's like, let's go. And she was very plump. She liked to eat her food. And she was the best thing ever.
That's like my cow Tanya now, which we've retired her because her udder is just it's not productive anymore. To put it gently, so we don't hurt poor girl's feelings. So she's the only one that gets to be retired on the farm. And she was up in the hospital group for a while because we do run bulls and we didn't want her getting bred. She was in the hospital pen, and we give the hospital cows like an extra bucket of cornmeal to just encourage them to eat and do the things. And let's just say girl enjoyed her corn. And she's real mad that she got put on dry cow ration to lose some weight, because they don't get the cornmeal. The cornmeal train does not visit her. She's not happy. And she's also got a lot of Jersey in her, and she likes to express her feelings. She's not thrilled with us right now. So Weight Watchers is not for her, she said. But here we are. She doesn't have a choice. Otherwise, she's not going to make it because she's going to be so fat she can't walk.
She needs to be upright.
Diet for Tanya. So she's not thrilled, but she'll live. So I know all about those queens that have, they're basically wider than they are tall, and they do what they want, and you're not going to tell them otherwise.
She was really gentle. She just really wanted to be on those trailers, and I don't know.
Tanya is one of the ones where when you want to move her somewhere, like to the milking parlor, for example, it was you ask her nicely. You do not tell her to do anything, because the second that you tell her, she says no, and she doesn't move. So you say, come on, it's time to go. And she says, okay, I'll go. But if you try to demand anything out of her, she says, nope, I put my foot down. I'm not moving. When the girl doesn't move, she does not move. So those of you that have jerseys know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
What's that?
Does she do the jersey flop?
No, I think she's too round. She wouldn't get back up again. She gets stuck. So dear. So you had that interest in the Charolais and doing that right from a young age. And, that's really awesome that you were able to start your own little herd at 13 and grow that way. So growing up through high school and things like that, were you involved in different organizations? At what point did you know that agriculture was yours to be a part of for the rest of your life?
So I did grow up with 4-H, with raising the replacement dairy heifers. We're fortunate enough with the farmers where they would let us use their heifers to show dairy. We did that. We did pygmy goats, hogs, and obviously the beef cattle. I was active in 4-H. I was really active so Michigan, you could be an FFA member in middle school.
Okay.
The Hastings Middle School FFA chapter is the oldest in the state, I want to say. So that's pretty cool. So I got to start FFA in 7th grade. In high school, I got a job at the vet's office. They actually approached me about mowing the lawn. It was our farm's vet, and I worked my way up in there from just mowing the lawn to cleaning pens to being able to do like more vet tech things. So that was my plan after high school, was to go and be a vet tech and then come into like that side of farming and agriculture. However, I got super sick my senior year of high school and actually wasn't able to go to college. So I just kind of stayed at home. I mean, we bought the house next to my parents, so I'm home but not home, which is great. And I just kind of took a step back and was like, what is my passion? What do I love? There was actually one day I was outside and this car stopped and they're like, hey, we talked to somebody at the Ace Hardware and they said that you guys have a farm and we might be able to see your cows. And I'm like, sure. So we went around on like a 45-minute farm tour, and what it was they were from California and they had never seen a cow in life, like in person. And at that point, it kind of like started to sink in that there's such a disassociation to agriculture and like where your food comes from. Like I've always taken it for like advantage, like, and I recognize that I do. Like I know that I'm just like, oh, everybody knows these things, and like these terminologies are just common words. But that was like the first time it really sunk in that I was like, I love working with kids. I love only having one kid. Kids are best when they're returnable. I will keep mine. But like, I love working with kids, and I'm like, let's connect these things. So that's kind of was just these weird little interactions as growing up that has brought me to where I am.
Yeah. And so you talk about, you bought a house next door to your parents when you weren't able to go to college. How was that decision? Just due to the circumstances of your senior year, or how did that come about?
It was completely just by fate, honestly. The house, it was a foreclosure house, so we were able to buy it really cheap. I was in and out of the hospital my senior year and like that following consecutive year. So it wasn't, at that point, I was with my now husband. Bless him. He started dating me 3 days before I was hospitalized and had my colon removed. And this man was like, I'm here for it. And so he has stayed with everything. So him and I moved into this house, and it's just worked out so perfectly. We're able to be on call for when the cows are out in the middle of the night, or the weird things that you just need a young person to be able to do. And it was just amazing that we just happened to end up here.
And was he from an agricultural background, or is he just married into the farm? How does that work?
He married into the farm. So he grew up, they had like a hobby farm, and for a while, I think they were vegetarians. His grandpa was a diesel mechanic, so my husband spent a lot of time with his grandpa. And then right around the time we got married, my dad offered my husband a job on the farm. And I love you. If you were listening, him leaving the farm was the best thing that happened for our marriage. I greatly enjoy being like, hey, what did you do at work today? And it not be like, oh my gosh, you were so annoying at work today. Like we made it work for quite a few years, but he's married into the farm, and he's a great sport about it and all of the things that I do and the animals that I have acquired and these things that I'm like, hey, I need you to do this for me. But yeah, he's a great support.
Awesome. Yeah, it's very tricky working on the farm with your spouse, because we are in which my husband is still on the farm, and thankfully we're good and we do well together, and we have enough stuff going on that we're normally not together all day anyways. So I am lucky in that aspect, but he also moved into he came to our family's farm. So I do understand the trials and tribulations of all that fun stuff. As a busy mom and dairy farmer, I'm always looking for ways to support my family's health as well as my own. And I absolutely love Wonder Cow Colostrum. It's packed with essential nutrients, great for supporting gut health, boosts immunity, and promotes overall wellness. Whether it's for me, my kids, or anyone looking to stay strong and healthy, Wonder Cow is my go-to daily supplement. I have been taking it for a year now, and it is irreplaceable in my daily routine. If you want to experience the amazing benefits of colostrum too, you can use my special code, DairyGalVal, at checkout for a discount. Give Wonder Cow a try, and you will definitely feel the difference. Hey, Dairy Hour listeners, if you're enjoying this show, leaving a review is the best way to help us grow and reach more people. Plus, I've got a little thank you for you. Snap a screenshot of your review, message it to me at DairyGalVal, and I will be sure to send some fun Dairy Hour stickers your way. Thanks for supporting the podcast, and I cannot wait to mail you some swag.
Definitely. It made good memories, but so my dad, my grandpa, my brother, and my uncle also are all on the farm. And at that point, we had 3 hired men. So it was like a little bit of non-family blood, but a lot of family blood. And it's just, he works at the John Deere dealership now, which is funny because we don't have any John Deere equipment, but it's all worked out for the best.
So you can't even have him bring parts home if you don't have John Deere equipment and he works there. Because I know
they're a dealer for Oxbow, so he brings me my merger parts.
Perfect.
Honey, I broke my tractor. I need you to go get me a part for my merger, and he can do that. But yes,
perfect.
No green on the farm.
I was gonna say if we had someone working at a dealership here, we'd be like, okay, we need this part. Okay, we need this part. Oh, bring this home. Like, see what you can do about this. All the different things. So. Thankfully, we're not too far from all of our dealerships, so that makes life a little bit easier. So.
Well, he's 10 minutes up the road, and the rest of them are 40 plus minutes. So it's an adventure, and I, since becoming a mom, have become more of the parts getter, which I love going and getting the parts and getting to see everything on the drive. But when you're in a rush, you don't want to have that commute.
Yes. When you're in a rush, it's never close enough. So I get that. And, how have things changed since you've kind of beneficially on the farm as an adult? What does that look like for you now?
Things have changed too much. I've always been pretty just go with the flow and fit in where I can. I have got to do more of the bookwork side of things. So I don't always do. I'm trained to be able to do the replacement heifer bookwork, and then I'm starting to do some of the bookkeeping side of it. A lot of the time I'm not on the farm on a daily basis. I'm more around for hay, or when we're needing more employees and help when we're planting or harvesting, and then obviously running crops. And then I guess my kiddo just kind of became the mascot, and he just goes over there and he has a great time. And the guys all eat lunch together at the farm, and he's connected with one of them, and so he sits there and he lets them watch on his iPad, and they're watching Wild Kratts, and this guy's just trying to eat his lunch in peace, and my son's just scooting closer. But we kind of just go over and lighten the mood and distract everybody for a little bit.
Definitely. That's about how my son is around here. He thinks he's the big boss already, and he goes around and knows exactly what everyone's doing and has to go out and do this. Or if someone's working on something in the shop, he's right out there watching, seeing what's going on. So Probably picking up some new words, all the fun things about being around the farm, right?
Absolutely. And I'm okay with the new words as long as he doesn't say it in school, church, or grandma's house and in the right context. We've had this, there are boundaries and guidelines, and I'm but you may use them correctly.
Yeah, we had 2 incidents last week with 2 different of the kids, and I was impressed. Both of them used them in the correct context, which was A-okay. And both were quite hilarious incidents, but I was like, oh boy, someone needs to talk to their teacher, aka me. No.
Yes, Mom.
It's the teacher's fault. They learned it at school. No. Oh, gosh, awesome. So you also mentioned in the beginning that you wrote a book, and I don't know if you want to touch a little bit about how that even came about, how you did that, all the fun things that have to do with the book.
4-year journey. I actually really struggled taking English when I was in school. I couldn't spell ketchup for the longest time. My 3rd grade spelling test was Kathryn because I didn't know how to spell my legal name. English is not my strong suit, but I was at a Farm Bureau conference, and Peggy Thomas was there as a breakout session about writing children's books. And I had kind of gone in with an idea, and at the end I'm okay, I think I can do this. So my book is called The Hibernating Combine, and it actually is because of my son. We were going to town one day and he's like, Mom, where'd the combines go? And I'm like, well, they're hibernating like the bears. They're going to come back out in the spring when it's time to do wheat. And I got to looking, and there's not a lot of machinery stories out there, which it's hard to write about machinery, but also like so many kids, they want the big tractors, they want that machinery. So it's come a long way. At one point it was like 400 words, and now it's this cute 32-page rhyming. It's like 100-ish words. Like, it's very simple, but it talks about finishing up fall harvest and cleaning the combine and doing maintenance and putting it away so it can rest. And it's just kind of like a behind the scenes look at farming and how the farmers take care of their equipment. There's an emphasis. There's one page and it's seatbelts on and lights aglow, slow and steady to the farm we go. So I kind of wanted to put like an emphasis on safety in there about, we're going slow. We wear our seatbelts. And the illustrator has been amazing. And he's made it like you could see the lights on the top of it are glowing during this page. And it's been amazing. So I am self-publishing it, which has been a whole other learning curve. I tried with a couple of publishing companies to self-submit and they were rejected. And I put the book aside for 6 months. I'm like, we're just going to take a break. We're going to regroup. And then 6 months later, I was like, yeah, I wouldn't publish this book either. So I went through and re-gutted it and switched the gears. And I was like, if I'm going to read this out loud, I want it to be a book that I want to read. And I love rhyming books. Like, those are my favorite books. So now it's like this really cute little rhyming book, and we're set to have it launched this fall. So it will be out in time for the combines to hibernate again.
Awesome. Perfect timing for that, and perfect timing to get that for Christmas and all the fun things. So I will be sure to share that when it does go live, because that's really exciting to have that come out. And I'll share the links for that when it comes out and we have links. So that's really exciting. And it's definitely a labor of love. And I'm guessing that you read it to your little guy.
Yes. Frequently. And we have a really good relationship with our librarian at a tiny little neighboring library. And she's read it for me too. Cause I guess she goes to the bookstore and she just sits there and reads books out loud before buying them. And I'm like, can you read my book before I decide that I'm done with it? And so we do have some friends that are reading it to their kiddos, which it's hard to read a picture book without the pictures. And yes, that was something that when I revamped it, I'm like, the pictures can use their own words. And that's helped a lot too. Very cool.
And it's just so neat to hear about the journey of getting it polished and, having the, the know-how to go back and be like, okay, this isn't exactly what we were looking for. Let's, redo it and reframe it and make it better, because a lot of people wouldn't think that it needed any help. They would sit there and be like, no, it's good. It's good. It's good. So that's really, really cool that you were able to kind of take a step back and reset it, restructure it, and get it exactly how you wanted before publishing. So that's awesome. And I'm very excited to see it when it comes out. And I'm really excited for you.
Thank you so much.
And you also did just start, you've recently started sharing a lot more on social media about different things. So if you want to chat about how you got into that and what kind of things you're doing over there on your page.
So my pages they're called An Earful of Agriculture. And that kind of goes back to loving to teach people about agriculture. It started, I think 3 years ago. It was my pageant platform. So I competed in a state pageant. I was having an identity crisis. I'm calling it my quarter life because I was 25 at the time. And I'm like, I don't know who I am and I don't know what I stand for. I got to interact with over 500 students and read them ag accurate books and tell them facts about agriculture. And it was such a empowering opportunity. And even at the national pageant level, I was talking to the judges and my fellow contestants about farming and all of these things that they were just mind blown by. And I'm like, social media is there and you can have so much good on it. So I have this year been trying to focus more on doing either ag facts or just videos around the farm, trying to just make ag education fun and exciting. And I'm still learning my niche and what works and what doesn't work, and finding the cute backgrounds to have. And we right now have a collection of critters. So we have ducklings that just hatched, and those seem to be a huge hit on the socials. And then we have chicks and we have a rabbit. She's a Holland Lop, and I put her in a pot and made an educational video about meat rabbits, which she's not a meat rabbit, but it had such good feedback. But I'm like, here's this cute little fluffy bunny in this pot. I'm like, I'm gonna cook it, but I'm not. It was something
Rabbits
to grab
too,
those
kids.
attention. And so it's just been something different to work on and something that's been fun to learn. It's been a huge learning curve.
Yes, it definitely is a huge learning curve. And it's social media is one of those lovely things where you're like, oh, I think I've got it figured out. And then social media is like, no, hang on. We're going to take an abrupt left-hand turn. So let's make you second guess all of your techniques and all of the different things. Yes, it's definitely.
Go ahead.
You go ahead.
When I first started, I was very much like, we're just doing ag facts. Like I'm doing one a day. I don't have one a day at me. That is way too many ag facts. But I'm also like, I'm a mom and I'm a human. Like I don't want to just be like this perfect put together social media influencer. Like I want to be transparent. So I've started putting more like mom content and the weird like random things I do in life on there too, because there is more to farmers than farming and there's more to agriculture than just farmers. I mean, there's so many different avenues and job opportunities. And I'm like, let's be transparent. Let's be real.
I love it. So make sure you guys all go support her and give her page a follow because the ducklings are awful cute. I will admit. I don't even like birds, but they're cute. So, I love it.
Thankfully.
What's that?
They don't fly yet, thankfully.
Yes, you got a little ways before they can do that and before they just start to get messy because that's my big problem with ducks is that when they get older, they just start to get messy.
They're messy. They're messy now.
We're already past the point of Val thinking they're cute. Okay, perfect.
They're like, you clean the brooder twice a day, messy. It stinks, but we're thankful to have them because we lost their moms from a predator attack. So these are our surviving eggs, and we didn't think they were going to hatch at all.
Okay, so you made out good at least getting some replacements in there.
Well, she was on 15 eggs, and we had a coon come in and took her and then 10 of the eggs. So I don't know how long the eggs had been uncovered, and I just threw them in an incubator, and 4 out of the 5 eggs hatched. And I'm just thankful that we have their genetics and that we can have ducklings again. And so it's not my favorite responsibility of being a duck mom, but I know long term it'll be okay.
Yes, definitely. So I'd love to kind of move on over to some fun rapid fire questions to get to know a little bit more about you. And I just have to kind of make a quick note. At the conference we were at, Kathryn has the coolest shoes with little like diamond ears of corn on them. So just a heads up, the corn shoes are fantastic. You should post them on your Instagram so that everyone can go see them because they're awesome.
Post them in your honor.
Perfect. I appreciate that. So rapid fire questions. Morning person or night owl?
Morning person.
And now I'm going to ask you this, even though we can see what probably the obvious answer is if you're looking on YouTube. Cats or dogs? Now with cats, if you're not watching on YouTube, she has a cat sitting on the back of her chair with tail over shoulder and doing all of the things.
Hey, rabbits are better than dogs too, because rabbits can be litter box trained. So they're like cats without the long tails.
I mean, accurate. When I was younger, I went to Germany with my grandmother and visited friends, and they actually had a cute little black rabbit that was house trained, and it would run around the house and do all sorts of fun stuff. And his name was Schnappy, and he was very cute. So
we have a house rabbit as of this spring, and she is hopping around the house presently.
I just don't know if I could do a house rabbit. I don't know. They're so cool, but I just don't know if I could do it. Probably get lost in my kids' rooms the way that their rooms look. So be like, I don't know where the rabbit is. That's stuck in the junk under
her way out. Do everything.
Oh, goodness. What's your favorite color? Beach or mountains?
Oh, mountain.
What is your go-to comfort food? Pizza. Very good. Favorite ice cream flavor?
I like vanilla, but I like sprinkles. I like the crunch that the sprinkles give.
Rainbow sprinkles or chocolate sprinkles?
Rainbow sprinkles.
She's Camp Rainbow Sprinkles. That a girl. We're all team Rainbow Sprinkles over here as well. So I feel you. Introvert or extrovert?
I think it depends on the day. I think I lean more towards extrovert, but there are definitely some days that I'm like, no, just no.
I just need me time, like, please.
Yes, mama goes to timeout quite a bit because I'm like, I just need a break. I just can't right now.
I just need a minute, please. Yes. I like the second that you want a minute and you're just like, Mom. Yeah.
It's like only having one kid, he tattles on the cats. So I didn't even get out of that. And so he's like, Mom, the cat knocked over my tree. And I'm like, pick it up. What are you going to do? What am I going to do?
Mom, the cat's touching me.
The cat meowed at me. Yeah, it's not what I expected when I only had one kid.
Oh, that's funny. Tattles on the cat. Poor cat. Poor cat can't even get a break, you know?
No.
And the cat probably tries to tattle on the kid, but you know.
But like when my son was a baby, he would bat my kid and he would cry. And I'm like, you realize that the cat has no claws. So they're not even like good friends.
That's awesome. Kids and cats, you know? Dear, what is your favorite childhood memory?
I was not ready for that question. Favorite? Okay. When it would be winter time, my dad, like being on the farm, he was always super busy. And in the winter, when things were slower, he would come in and each of us kids, so I have a younger brother and an older brother, we would get one night a week to play video games with dad. And we used to play Star Wars Stormtroopers on the PlayStation 2. And that was like the best thing was when it was slow time and we got to play video games with dad.
That is fun. My grandparents used to have like an old, oh my gosh, what was it? Nintendo. There we go. Like old Nintendo, like from the 80s. And when we were kids, it might have even been from the late 70s. I don't know. But my cousins and I would go over there and we would play all the fun things. Definitely some memories doing that as well. Definitely some memories fighting with my cousins over it too. So, I mean, there's always that.
Completely.
And it was one of those, like the cartridge, and you'd have to pull it out and you have to blow in it. And then all of a sudden it would magically work. And you were like, yes, got the magic touch today, guys. Like, it's fine. Oh, dear. Favorite flower? It done stumped you.
Baby's breath? Like the little white ones that people add.
Yep. The little filler, the frilly filler.
Yes.
Cute. So you said you were not an English person in school. What was your favorite school subject?
I really liked math, like basic math. I was not like into geometry and like that thing, but like solving problems.
Yes. Simple math that you actually feel like you use in life, not, the crazy stuff where you're like, I'm never going to use this again.
I use simple math because there's just a calculator everywhere. I'm like, I could type that faster than you could math it in your head.
Yes, 100%. Favorite board game?
Not a board game, but I love euchre, which is a card game.
Yep. Very cool. If you could time travel, would you go past or future? For what reason?
I would have anxiety if I knew what the future held. Like, I would rather just not know.
Yeah, I mean, depends on your anxieties, I guess, because I think some people would be like, well, it would cure my anxiety knowing what was coming. But going to the past where, yeah, I can see that though. I like it. Not what I expected. What is your favorite thing to do off the farm?
I love reading.
Okay, what book are you reading?
I actually was reading it while I was waiting for you. It is Colleen Coble, and it is I Think I Was Murdered.
Oh, that escalated quickly.
Yes. Our librarian, she's super cool. So she has a 52-week book challenge, 52 book challenge, and you like read a book a week. And so she's gotten me reading some interesting like different genres and different like requirements for it, and it's been really fun to expand my horizon.
There you go. I like it. Favorite smell?
So you describe barn smell. I love the way that our barns smell, which I also recognize that our barns, like everybody's barns smell differently based off of what they're being fed. But like, I remember we went to Washington, D.C. in middle school, and I came home and I'm like, I just want to go stand as a barn and smell. Like, yeah, it's homey.
I know what you mean. And I think people that have farms get that. Definitely. And people that don't necessarily have a farmer sitting there going, I'm sorry, what? Like, why? Why would you think that? Favorite place you've ever traveled?
It's Virginia.
Okay. What'd you do there?
We actually had a vow renewal. So we've been married 10 years last year, and we were in Davis, West Virginia, up in the mountains, and there was a tropical storm, but it was absolutely breathtaking. And life is so slow there, and you don't have phone service, and people are friendly, and like I really like to be in nature. So there was mountains. We actually got matching mountain tattoos and waterfalls. Like it was just so slow. There was basically nothing to do, which was exactly what I needed to do.
Yes, I get that. It's just like that. It's almost like a challenge to just like separate and slow everything down and just kind of cut yourself out from the quote unquote real world.
Yes. And when you don't have phone service, like we were smart enough, we had their atlas and we had like downloaded Apple Maps so we could travel safely. But I'm like, I can't work. I can't talk to anybody. I'm just here with my husband and I'm here in the moment.
Awesome. That's really great. And if you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you go?
I would go to Australia. I was a huge, what is it, Steve Iron? Is that how you say his
Irwin.
last name? Yep. I love watching his kids on social media, on TikTok, and I really want to go to their zoo.
I want to go to Australia just so I can go to the zoo. I like it.
Completely.
Very cool. So I love to have our previous guests leave everyone a deep thought question. And your question is, when you're having a tough day, what is something you do to change your mood and mentality to be more positive?
It goes back to putting myself in timeout. And I tell my son that. I'm like, Mom's going to go take a 10-minute timeout. Like, set the timer on Alexa. And just like to be able to step back and like do deep breathing and regulate my emotions. And like so much of our life is just a chapter and a phase. And it's just, it all will pass. And then like to also be grateful. Like, parenting is hard, but you're never going to have these challenges again, especially when you only have one kiddo. Like, I only ever got to potty train one tiny human, and it was miserable at that time, but I also am so grateful for that experience. Like, so just trying to treasure it, knowing that it will pass.
Yeah, that's one of the things, I try to remind myself when things get chaotic or things get tough. I try to, you get that problem that seems like it's like life ending, and you just sit there and you're like, okay, depending on what, no matter what decision I make on this issue, is it going to affect me, a year down the road? Is it going to affect me 5 years down the road? Like what is the actual scale of this? Does it seem like it's life ending in the moment? Or is this something that, once it's blown over, what's going to happen next? So I do try to remember that. And sometimes it's tough to remember that. And sometimes you get dragged down through the weeds, but to be able to step back and, that's really great that you have learned to acknowledge the fact that, hey, I really just need a break. Like I just need to give myself a break and let myself separate from whatever's going on. So
it's actually he's 5, and when he's upset, he'll go, Mom, I need to take a break. And he takes himself into his bedroom, shuts the door. And then when he's ready, he opens it just a little bit and he goes, Mom, can we talk? So even like by practicing it with myself, my son is now also implementing these things. And I hope that that's something that he'll carry with him as he grows.
Yeah, definitely. And definitely something that can help teach him, like, step away from the situation, reassess, and then come at it when you've thought it through, rather than just making rash decisions and, jumping headfirst into something. Awesome. And what quote do you have for us today? Awesome. And why does that resonate so much with you?
I think you just hear so much in life and you're just like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And then there's some day where that phrase or whatever it was clicks and you're like, that was actually a lot of really good wisdom. But at that time, you didn't know that you needed it to be wise wisdom.
Yes, 100% agree. And I really like that. It kind of gives you that, like, looking back, realizing that you learned things that you didn't necessarily think you needed at the time, and being able to bring that with you throughout whatever journey you're on. Awesome. Anything else that you want to share with everybody today?
I don't think so. I'm so glad to be here with you.
It's been so great to chat with you and get to know you more. And I look forward to seeing you more in the future. As it's been fun, and we were lucky enough to have met in a Facebook group, no less. Good old Dairy Moms. Shout out to anyone from Dairy Moms listening, and be able to connect with you and get to connect with you in person at the conference recently was also really cool. Why don't you again shout out where people can follow along with your journey?
You're Full of Agriculture, and I am on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and then my website is www.anearfulofagriculture.com. So very consistent across the board.
Awesome. And I'll be sure to link those in the show notes for everyone so you can click and follow her really easily. And with that, if you loved this episode, please be sure to share with a friend. We really appreciate it. And Kathryn, it was such a pleasure to have you on today. And we will talk to you all next week. Bye.